Alright, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk, series I make whenever I feel it's necessary, where we cover some exciting news and price action in regard to some of the stocks we've been talking about on the channel. In today's case, we are covering some stocks in the EV or electric vehicle sector, so we will just go down the line here on the watch list on TradingView, which is where we will be looking at all the charts today. Kick it off with SHLL or Tortoise Acquisition, Workhorse, Tesla, Nikola, NIO, and then Spartan Acquisition or SPAC. Okay, so we'll take a look at each of the charts, just go down the line here once again. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking in regard to future potential price action. So excited to talk to you guys about that. Along with that, we do have a little bit of news to cover, a little bit of complimentary news. Again, we'll kick it off with Tortoise Acquisition. They just dropped some banging news this morning, which is obviously why the stock is up 33%, more so at some points in the day. So we will cover that. We will then move on to no news in regards to some of these other players, so only Tesla at this point. So a very quick news article here. Just want to read you guys some headlines. In preparation for what we're going to read last. Okay, so Apple and Tesla stock have long-term upside after stock splits. Jim Cramer, many of you probably know him, wild old dude on CNBC, says, so we'll just cover these guys real quick, and then we have this article. Okay, so I will probably get an extra 10-15 dislikes just for saying such a thing, just for covering such a thing in a video. But you guys, even if you're a Tesla bull, absolute Tesla bull, and trust me, I'm bullish on Tesla myself long term, but you just have to understand, in any argument you're ever in any debate, you always have to understand the opposite side of the argument. Okay, so this is just, I'm not saying I'm bearish on Tesla by any means, but it's good to understand the bear side, even if you're an absolute bull. Okay, so Tesla Bear says stock is detached from reality, predicts $87 price target. Okay, so I would put my life on the line that Tesla will probably never reach $87 unless they go bankrupt, which is highly unlikely in my opinion. But again, we will cover this. There's some good counter arguments again to the bull case in here that you just should know if you're invested in Tesla and if you're long Tesla. Again, I'm long Tesla, but always understand the opposite side of the argument. Okay, guys? All right, so before we do get into this, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it, or if you're invested in any of the stocks we're talking about today. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out my complete portfolio and daily newsletter if you want to know my exact trades in regard to some of the stocks we're talking about. Okay, so first link in the description. Appreciate you. If not, no worries. All right, so let's get into this. As always, we will kick it off with the news. Got to establish a fundamental understanding of what's going on prior to getting technical. Okay, so Tortoise Acquisition, Bazinga by Chris Katja. That's a tough one. Okay, so Tortoise Acquisition Corp 2, keep in mind 2, files for IPO, what you need to know. So let's move down here. I fully highlighted this. I don't know why it's not highlighted anymore. Let's do that quick. This is all we're going to be reading anyway. So after its first successful specialty purpose acquisition company, Tortoise Acquisition Corp is launching a second SPAC. Tortoise Acquisition Corp 2, NYSE SNPR, will offer 250 million shares at a price of $10 per share, according to a Monday SEC filing. Each share will be for one share of the company, along with 1/4 of a warrant to purchase a share at the $11.50 price point. Warrants will be redeemable 30 days after the completion of the business combination. Tortoise Acquisition Corp 2 will seek to find a company in the energy market similar to its first Tortoise Acquisition Corp 1, which announced in June that it was merging with Hyliion, an electrified powertrain solutions provider for Class 8 trucks. The first offering from the company sold 23 million shares at $10 each. All right, so we're not going to be covering this one today. We're not going to be covering where is the ticker. So NYSE SNPR, that's pretty cool. It's like Sniper. That's pretty sick. Okay, but we're not covering that today. We will just be covering SHLL. I did make a video specifically, an analysis video specifically on Tortoise Acquisition, Hyliion in the past, more specifically covering Hyliion because that is the merger that is going on. So Hyliion, again, they manufacture powertrains for vehicles. I personally, when we talked about it, you guys can go check it out if you want to hear my kind of fundamental take on Hyliion. But really cool company. They're engineering powertrains, which can be just sold to multiple manufacturers and kind of different use cases. They're not just selling cars. They're not selling like cars like a lot of these other companies are. They're actually selling powertrains. Okay, so I think I really like the application there, and again, I think Hyliion's a cool company. So obviously, the news of that second, the Tortoise Acquisition Corp 2 was the catalyst for some of this news. But again, Hyliion is a cool company, and this is what I'm currently focusing on. Okay, so we will cover the Sniper stock in future videos, not this one though. Okay, so looking at the technicals, gonna be honest with you guys, I don't know if I talked about this in a previous video, but I did. So I was holding Tortoise Acquisition for quite a while. I believe I bought my first position back here-ish somewhere. I remember I caught this second wave up, not the first wave, but the second wave, and was holding it for a while. Again, very bullish, on Hyliion long term. So I thought it was a good trade. But as you can see here, back in late July, like the end part of July, where what I thought was a bear flag, why am I mixing those up? Where I thought was a bull flag, but again, it was also a descending triangle. So two very different things. I was expecting it to play out like a bull flag. So obviously bull flag, you see the upward movement here, it creates the flag shaft, and then you see that descending triangle, which then makes the flag, and then you usually see a breakout. Instead, it was a descending triangle. It played out that way at least, and then it broke to the downside. Once it broke to the downside, I did close out my position. Just because I didn't know how much lower it could go. I wasn't sure if it was going to try to retest some lower levels. Like this first move up here, that's a lot of, I'm surprised it hasn't pulled back to this area, to be honest. But that's what I was worried about. Closed it out up until pretty recently, where I just, honestly, just today re-added it to the portfolio, because I do see more upside. But I do think in the short term, so to be completely honest, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow or the next day. It could happen Friday. I do think at some point this week or early next week, we will see a pullback and a retest down to the previous high that it set back around $35. So the previous high it set at the end of June. I do think it makes sense to see a pullback. That's very common to see in the markets. You will see a pullback, or it obviously broke past the previous high. It saw zero resistance around this area, but I do think that we'll probably see a pullback back to this previous high at $35, at which point I will consider establishing a larger position. But I did add some to my portfolio today just in case it does happen to climb up. But I do also still think that we could see a pullback, and that's what I would expect to see. Again, after a move like tomorrow, we might see like a 10% move up tomorrow. A lot of times when you see like 30-40% moves up, especially on a Monday, then the following day will be like a 5 to 10% move up, and then followed by a correction. So Thursday, Friday would make the most sense, because Fridays are always just the days that traders like to sell off their positions. Friday, I wouldn't be surprised to see us floating back around $35, at which point I would definitely consider reestablishing a larger position. Okay. So that said, let's move on to Workhorse, and then we'll cover some Tesla news, and then look at the charts. All right. So Workhorse is printing, unlike this one. So Workhorse could potentially be printing a descending triangle as well. This is obviously a descending triangle, but this is definitely more bull flaggy looking than the previous one. Okay, so again, you see that parabolic price action straight up that pretty much went 90 degrees with Workhorse. Everyone remembers that, especially if you're watching this video, I'm sure. So Workhorse went absolutely parabolic. Again, you see the bubble pop, you see correction, you see capitulation, creating this descending triangle right here. And worst case scenario, but I don't think it'll play out, because fundamentally Workhorse is a sick company, great, like involved in shipping and logistics, with all the drama going on around USPS right now. Obviously, I know you guys, there is that news about the potential partnership deal with USPS. I just haven't heard enough solid insight on that, or like a solid enough take on that to really be confident in talking about it too much. But I have been keeping my eye on Workhorse for a long time now. Great company, cool company. I definitely believe in them in the long term, especially at a. So sorry, I didn't bring up the market cap with SHLL, but I do believe it's about 1.2 billion. So still small. I completely forgot to give you guys my price target on this. My bad. So again, I do think we're gonna bounce off my ultimate price target, and the reason that my price target, I'll just say it now, is about $60, is because from this first rally back in early June, we saw it go from $10 to a high of about $35, which again is where I believe it'll pull back to. Considering this is where it's capitulating, it bounced up obviously off that initial news. I wouldn't be surprised to see, $10 to $35 is about a 3.5x. I want to be surprised to see us go from about $19 to about maybe $60 at the end of this next run. Okay, and I'm saying that because this was a 3.5x. As it grows as a company, the market cap gets higher, it takes more capital inflow. Still very small, again, at like a $1.2 billion valuation, I believe, 1.165. So it still has a lot of room to grow. Still a very small company. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see another 3x from this area of capitulation around $20. Easy math right there, $60 price target. Okay, so again, not saying this is going to happen. You guys know the deal. This is not financial advice. I have no idea if this thing could crash down way back down here tomorrow. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a $50, $60 SHL. And again, at $40, it's not too far fetched at this point. All right, so that said, let's go back to Workhorse. So again, Workhorse, I think this is going to play out like a bull flag. Great company, fundamentally very bullish long-term specifically, but short-term, I do think that we will bounce around in this area for a little bit. It very rarely plays out, you guys, to where the tip, because a lot of other traders are seeing this pattern as well. They see a bull flag or a descending triangle. I see a bull flag in my eyes, and it's very rare that it plays out and actually goes all the way to the tip. It usually goes, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see it break out around here, because other people are anticipating this bull flag breakout. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it beginning of September, so early September, over the course of the next week or so, to break out of this pattern and see another rally. Okay, and Workhorse, again, what are we looking at in terms of market cap? 1.7 billion. I mean, still fairly conservative market cap. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with Workhorse. Again, if you guys want to know my exact positions, complete portfolio newsletter down below. Okay, so Tesla, let's move on to Tesla. I will cover the technicals here, and then, you know what, we'll cover the technicals on all of these, you guys. You guys know the deal. Always start with fundamentals, but this time, this might be kind of a longer conversation going into this. So I just want to give you guys my technical analysis first, then we'll move into fundamentals and kind of close out the video that way, okay? So Tesla, again, is in the stock watch, the Sunday stock watch I just posted yesterday. I did talk about Tesla again, you guys. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tesla pull back. We did see a pullback, ended the day around 2% down. So at one point in the day, it was all the way down to just below $2,000 at about 19. Its low today was about 1930, so it saw a pretty decent pullback, down like 3-4%. So I wouldn't be surprised, you guys, to see it once again bounce off this area that was once resistance for it, and it has used this area as resistance, both resistance and support. So it is an obvious trend line that I will go off of. Again, I do think it'll probably bounce off this line if we do see a correction that does align almost perfectly with this previous high that it set back here in early July. So yeah, again, my price target, short-term price target for Tesla is about $17.50. But again, I think it'll just keep ripping, and I think Tesla is an absolute phenomenon. I think the army behind it is super strong, and again, I've learned my lesson shorting Tesla. Will never short Tesla again, even though I do, from a technical perspective, think it's going down. You can see stochastics are curling down as well. That's not a good sign. All of these, I also want to say, are on the 4-hour chart. 4 hours, the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour candles are what I've seen for my style of trading to be the most effective. So that's what we're looking at. All right, so again, I do think we'll probably see a pullback 750 region. After that, probably continue this if everything in the market goes accordingly. You guys, I'm personally pretty sketched out on the market right now. I know I told you guys that yesterday. I actually just read a great analysis on TradingView this morning that I will show you guys in a future video. I don't know exactly how, like this week I'm talking, so pretty soon. I don't know exactly how I want to frame it, but it poses just a very rational, solid argument for why the market's very sketchy, even sketchier now that it's been over the past few months. So I will share that with you guys, but just be cautious, you guys. If the market does take a downturn, Tesla, as with the rally it's had and like being such the epitome of the current market environment, is, I mean, I think it'll lead if we do see a pullback in the market. So just keep that in mind. So Tesla, again, do think we'll probably bounce 750 region, after that continue up. Let's take a quick look at Nikola, NIO, and SPAC. So Nikola did technically break this downtrend that it's set since its high, not recent high. Haven't touched Nikola for a while. I did play it a little bit when it was popping off initially. Since then I haven't. From the beginning I thought Nikola was a wildly overvalued company. Again, Nikola was the poster child for this shiny object, just bubble market that we were in, especially a couple months ago. Still kind of in my opinion, but Nikola was once again the poster child for that. So you can see here it was downtrending. It did break that downtrend at the beginning of this month, and we are now kind of in an uptrend here. So I'll give you guys what might happen, because we're kind of downtrending again. I wouldn't be surprised to see us bounce off and once again retest. You can see it did it a few times over here, like August 6th, so early August as well. It was bouncing around here for a while, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see us maybe double bottom. Actually, you know what? We corrected. This recent candle closed at about the highs of those, so we could either have set another bottom here, and then we're gonna once again go up and retest this uptrend line that Nikola's been setting since the 4th, and again, that would bring us up to, I wouldn't be surprised to see us come up to around these levels. Maybe actually around here would make sense. So if that aligns correctly, we would see, just you guys, just a rough idea, on about September 8th, if this does play out and it does retest this upward trend line, we could see like a $70 Nikola, which is pretty significant. Again, you guys, this is a bubble, so I'm not guaranteeing anything. I wouldn't be surprised either to see it almost come bounce down off here. That was its initial trend line, and start to use that as support as opposed to resistance. So that's the most bearish case scenario, at which, I mean, I don't think that's gonna happen, you guys. But again, you guys remember, Nikola still is pretty wildly valued for what they are. Again, very cool concepts, very cool like outlook, but not much tangible news, not much profit, definitely not much profitability going on yet. Okay, $15 billion valuation still, even after this correction. So it's still pretty highly valued, again, for the actual output, like actual productivity that they're providing. Again, promises are cool. thoughts, outlook, concepts are cool, but that's not, I mean, in this market, it matters significantly more than it has in the past. But to be honest, if I'm investing in something, I want them to have something to back it. Okay, so we'll go on to NIO now. So NIO is following a pretty nice uptrend. Again, I think this is a nice conservative uptrend. You can see it has a few solid candles. They did end up selling off, which is kind of weird how they hit this uptrend line so solidly, but they ended red. Anyway, I disregarded this ultimate high, this kind of breakout right here, just because I feel like it's more conservative. NIO, highly regarded as the Tesla of China. I would debate that myself, but still a cool company. I've been watching. I've traded NIO for a couple of years now, so it's cool to see them growing. And again, they're really riding the wave of Tesla and the EV, just kind of all the EV hype that's going around in the markets right now. So I do think that we will probably with NIO retest this nice, very solid trend line. And again, this is a beautiful trend line right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see NIO once again come up, set a new high, probably at the $18 mark. We might see some resistance over here. So you can see here, I wouldn't be surprised if, that happens pretty, we might see some resistance once again at the previous high. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say about this trend line. I wouldn't be surprised to see some resistance, maybe a bounce, but I do think for sure, again, this depends on if the market continues to go in the right direction, which it's pretty likely will. I wouldn't be surprised to see it once again retest this uptrend line, create a new high around $18. Okay, NIO is now, I believe, 15 billion-ish too. Okay, so 12 billion. I mean, NIO objectively is a more valuable company than Nikola. That's a fact in my mind. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it get a $15 billion valuation again at about $18 per share. That would get us around there. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised to see new highs in NIO over the course of the next few weeks. So we'll see if that happens. Okay, we'll end it off with SPAC, and then we'll get into those articles. So Spartan Acquisition, you can see significantly below their all-time highs. I did hold Spartan Acquisition for a little bit. I pulled out because they did release news that, because they were supposed to acquire, damn it, I don't know why I forget the name of it, but they're obviously, these SPACs are huge. I always thought it was funny how they got actually like SPAC, because a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company, which is Tortoise Acquisition Corp, and all these like hype acquisition companies, these mergers that are happening in the markets right now. They got SPAC, so they got SPAC. They're a SPAC. They got ticker symbol SPAC. All right. Anyway. They did announce that they were going to do that merger somewhere around the end of the summer, early fall or something, and then they pushed it to early 2021. So obviously they kind of rode the hype train, and they didn't execute properly, and that's a bad sign in my eyes. That's an immediate red flag if they're pushing it back that significantly. They didn't have things in line. They just tried to ride the hype, which I understand, but that makes for a not very good company. Again, we did see it up 9% today, so I'm not doubting the fact that we could see another pop up. If that does happen, if we do see a pop up, I wouldn't be surprised to see us come or bounce around just in this general area from about 1450 to 1550. That would be my price target, but I don't think it'll personally, unless they drop some great news in regard to maybe expediting that process or like some very solid good news. Obviously, you guys, if good news comes out in regard to any of these, it can definitely turn the tides. I'm just letting you guys know what I'm thinking from a technical perspective. But I mean, I just can't imagine it getting much higher than $14.50, $15. We're currently sitting at a $900 million, almost $1 billion valuation on this. But again, you're not really like, at this point, it's still just an acquisition company, okay? It's living on a promise at this point, okay? So personally, not too bullish on SPAC. If you are, to each their own. That's perfectly fine. I'm not trading it myself, though. Okay, so let's move on to this. Apple and Tesla have long-term upside after stock splits, Jim Cramer says. Investors can buy Apple and Tesla on any pullback after their forthcoming stock splits. They're both stocks, and in the end, stocks can break your heart. But if Elon Musk and Tim Cook continue to execute, I bet their long-term trajectory is up. While some market players fret over the two companies' valuations, Cramer said they make sense when evaluating Apple as a consumer products company and Tesla as a tech company. Okay, so this is very obvious, and this is how these companies need to be viewed. So Apple is obviously a consumer products company as well as a tech company. And then Tesla is not only a car company, but arguably a better tech company. So Tesla owns AI. They own data. They own road data, which is, I think, their greatest asset, personally, from just my personal fundamental argument for Tesla. Their data, their AI, they own that. They kind of monopolize like road data, okay? Aside, like Google has maps, and then Apple does have Apple Maps, but Tesla with their autonomous driving, everything that they've collected from their cars is creating a huge network of data, okay? So that's why I believe that's like the actual value I see in Tesla. Their cars are great. Their cars are sick. Love the aesthetic, love the mission. But again, their cars aren't really their cars are unprofitable at this point, and that's what we'll get into here. Okay, so Tesla bears says stock is detached from reality, predicts $87 price target. I mean, again, I bet my left nut that would not happen, but I mean, let's hear the argument. All right, so let's read through this again. I'll probably get a few extra dislikes just for saying such words, but let's go through it. Tesla is detached from reality, says one Tesla bear. In a nutshell, Tesla is essentially a busted growth story. No, that sounds crazy to people who looking at the stock. So Gordon Johnson, CEO and founder of GLJ Research, is the guy saying this. Johnson has an $87 price target on the stock by the end of the year. You read that correctly. Tesla is trading at more than double VW's market cap. If VW sold 11 million cars last year, Tesla sold just under 370,000 cars last year, looking to sell roughly 500,000 cars this year. He notes that without the electric vehicle company's credit revenue sales, it would have lost about $300 million in the second quarter this year. So this is something that is like the most important thing to understand. To anyone who, I imagine a lot of you guys, if you are real Tesla bulls, you know this already, that they're not profitable. Their car business is not profitable. They make money. The only reason they're profitable is because they sell tax credits. Okay, so electric vehicle tax credits, they sell to other large car manufacturers because they can't cut it. All right, so that's essentially taxpayer incentives that they're getting for selling credit revenue to other car companies, said Johnson. The problem is all of those car companies are now selling electric cars, and Tesla is guiding their credit revenue sales to be down 50% in the back half of this year. So Tesla, I wouldn't be surprised to see their next quarterly earnings come up unprofitable, because again, it's just going to continue to trend this way. Tesla will not maintain profitability unless they can sell those tax credits. And if these other companies, these large car companies, are starting to make EV cars, they won't need to buy those tax credits from Tesla because they don't need them, okay? And that's bad for business. Their core business is loss making, he added. Johnson points to domestic sales and U.S. gross margins, which peaked in the fourth quarter of 2018, and notes that China growth story touted by some analysts isn't that impressive. The reality is, in the month of July, they sold about 11.4 thousand cars in China. They produced about 12.2 thousand. So they actually built inventory, and that's despite a price cut globally this year, 4 of which were in China. So inventory, if you've ever run a business, you know that you do not want overhead. You want to be as efficient as possible. Overhead is dead capital, okay? That's sitting capital. You don't want overhead, okay? So that's a bad sign. We think the reality is much different than what is being pumped out there, and we think the stock price is driving analysts' opinions, which is the befounding to us versus reality, he added. So again, you guys, Tesla, I'll say this every time I talk about Tesla because I think it's a fact that Tesla is overvalued. Again, go dislike the video. Please go dislike the video, but again, you guys, just look at this. Look at this. I've been in this game for a long time. This is not a healthy chart. This is not what a chart should look like. This is absolute, this is hype. This is why I always say this is kind of the epitome, and Nikola more so, but Tesla obviously fueled the Nikola rally just because of it caused the EV hype, and it's really leading a lot of the tech sector, SP, equity indices up is just Tesla, and that's what's included in that TradingView analysis I saw. So again, I'll bring that up, but you guys, Tesla, just please be careful. I would never touch Tesla. I would never think about going long Tesla at these levels unless you're planning on holding for a couple decades, which is perfectly fine. I highly condone long-term investing. I love investing for the future. Like, if that's on you, I highly commend you for that, okay? But the short term could be very sketchy. It's not crazy to see 50% retracements in rallies like this. Again, I play bubbles. A lot of my career, a lot of the big gains of my career were playing bubbles. 50% retracements in bubbles, which arguably Tesla is right now, is not uncommon. Okay, so that'd bring Tesla to about $1,000, or this lower. I mean, Tesla to $1,000 would just be these previous highs that it set in February. Okay, and again, it's also not uncommon for after a bubble to pop for a stock to go, or an asset like Bitcoin. I'm thinking about specifically right now, to come down to previous highs, and it did double top, huge psychological, even around $1,000. So that is my lowest price target. I don't personally think Tesla will ever go below $1,000, but $1,000 isn't crazy to me. Again, it could absolutely keep ripping. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That's why I have the green arrow here, and I will continue to keep it there because it probably will keep ripping with this current market environment. But there's a lot of new traders in here. There's a lot of weak hands, as I say, and you guys know I talk about it a lot. Like, there's just a lot of naive new money in the market, so you guys have to be careful. If you see some significant red, the red can come really fast, and it's a bloodbath when red comes fast in a market full of weak hands. Okay, so keep that in mind, you guys. Again, I'm sorry to kind of shed some reality on Tesla. But again, all you Tesla bulls, I know you guys understand this. It's just good to keep this in mind, and even if you're seeing gains, which makes it a lot harder to kind of grasp the reality of the bear side, you just have to keep it in mind. All right. And again, I'm long Tesla for sure, but just keep the bearish argument in mind, especially when we've seen such a crazy rally in Tesla as well as the rest of the EV market. Okay, so once again, if you do want to know exactly how I'm trading some of these stocks and positions, as well as literally my entire portfolio as it states, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description, along with all my call options, put options, and stock positions in a digital portfolio. I do send out a newsletter straight to your email inbox every morning, for me at least, every trading day, about an hour before market close, talking about the trades I made that day, rationalizing my thoughts, as well as giving you guys just my ideas about the general markets overall. So check that out if you're interested at all. If not, no worries. Once again, first link in the description. And let me know what you guys think about Tesla, some of these, the EV sector right now. If you guys are bullish, talking short term, long term, I think we're all bullish. But short term, medium term, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are playing, or let me know what I missed in this sector that you're excited about personally. All right, so always love learning from you guys. Catch you all downstairs. And until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.